To my good people out there, good evening, good night, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time you're watching this. My name is Raymond Carr, and this is RC Speaks. Today, I have another video on Lebron. I previously did one when he was on the Pat McAfee show. I never finished that one because with LeBron, he keeps up so much stuff, man, that you're always gonna have content with this dude. So I actually waited on this a little bit to see if he's gonna add something else. And true to the form that his form, true to his form, he has done that. This is him with his podcast called Mind the Game, but I call it Game the Mind because LeBron's full of it a lot. He's with Steve Nash, of course, as his co-host, and they ask a question. We'll get to it. Uh, we'll just get right directly to it. So we'll see what they had to say about this particular topic. I'm sure y'all have heard about it now. It's about ring culture, and we'll see what he's talking about.
Dustin Nielsen, why is ring culture so much more prevalent in the NBA than in other sports? I wish we had a simple answer. Right?
I'm gonna let him speak, but right quick, the reason why it's prevalent now is because y'all put him in this GOAT conversation with Jordan. So now, once you do that, Jordan's got 6. Everybody's thinking that in order to be the greatest of all time, you have to at least have 6 or more. Even though Russell has 11, John Havlicek has 8. A couple other guys on Russell's team have 10. Nobody else has 6 outside of that Celtics dynasty in the 60s. So the late 50s through the late 60s. So that's our issue as far as why rings are more important. Keep that in mind.
Oh my goodness, I do not know the answer. I wish I had the answer to this, but I'm not sure, man. It's funny, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport, and why it's the all be all of everything. Like, okay,
This joker said A all be all. You mean end all be all?
you weren't a great player if you never won a championship. It's like, or if you won one, then you can't be in the same conversation with this person. It's like,
but that's a great point, because what you're saying is like, no matter what you have, you need more. No matter what.
Right.
No matter what. Like, it never ends.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know, man. It's just like you sit here and you tell me, you know, Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash.
Nobody said Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, or Steve Nash wasn't great. They're all Hall of Famers. That's proven. Nash is a 2-time MVP. Allen and Barkley 1-time MVPs. And you also have to take into account that at least Iverson and Barkley made it to a finals. Even though they both lost, they at least made it to. Steve didn't even make it that far. So it's not in the same category.
You know, our fucking wasn't unbelievable. Like, oh, they can't be talked about or discussed with these guys is because this guy won 1 ring or won 2 rings or one. Like, it's just weird to me. It's like saying Peyton Manning can't be in the same room with Brady or Mahomes because he only has 1 ring. They don't never.
Peyton Manning has 2 rings, sir. That's the A all B all.
Discuss that in a sport.
Right.
Or telling me that Dan Marino is not the greatest slinger of all time, or he can't be in the room with those guys because he didn't win a championship. They don't discuss those things, you know. I don't know. I don't know. Did Barry Bonds win a World Series?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I checked it.
Barry Bonds never.
See, by bringing up Barry Bonds, first of all, in baseball and football, there are more players on the field than basketball. Basketball, a great player or two can make a huge difference for the team's championship aspirations. So that Barry Bonds not winning one it's hard to win in baseball. You have to have the correct pitchers and pitching. Everything has to go right. You have 9 guys on offense batting. And you also had to have the pitching staff and the rotation for the relief pitching. All that has to be in sync in order for you to win. Baseball, so it's much harder to win in baseball. That's a much longer season. So Not many guys get rings in baseball. Not many of your all-time greats get rings. And as far as football, it's 53 men on the team. It's 11 and 11 on each side. Everything has to gel. Every position has to gel in order for you to win a Super Bowl. So, you can win much easier in the NBA with two great players and superb role play. But go ahead.
Won a World Series, and you can't sit here and tell me that he's not the greatest baseball player to ever touch a bat. I don't understand where it came from. I don't know where it started.
It started with, of course, with Jordan being the standard, but it also picked up steam when you decided, sir, to join Miami and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. That's when it started. So if rings don't mean anything, why did you go to Miami? Why didn't you go somewhere else? Why didn't stay in Cleveland? Why did you intentionally join up? And y'all intentionally did it. Why did you intentionally join up with two other stars if rings didn't matter? That's where it started.
I hope that we have to appreciate more of what guys have been able to accomplish, what guys have been able to do. A ring is a team accomplishment.
Right.
He just said, now, this is how you know he's full of it a lot, and he does a lot of capping. On his own show, The Shop, a few years back, he said when he won that title in Cleveland in 2016, he said that right there made him the greatest player of all time. Not that win made that team one of the greatest or the greatest of all time. Not the team, him. But it's a team sport, though. You got to make up your mind, bro. Because the thing about LeBron is he says so much and he talks so much and he lies so much that he's not even aware of what's going on. You said that title made you the greatest of all time. I don't even know when this dude got in the GOAT conversation, but he's not in my top 10. Y'all can like it or not. But he doesn't play the game. This right here is a loser mentality. Because you haven't caught Jordan or passed Jordan, now you got to make excuses. Now you got to come up with something silly, like you don't know. I don't know where it came from. Same thing when he was, somebody on Pat McAfee, when they asked him, does he spend $1 million on his body? He's like, I don't know where that came from. You know where it came from. It came from your people. So this right here is a losing mentality. And in society today, a guy like LeBron can be in a GOAT conversation without any kind of morals on the court. He doesn't have standards on the court. Everything he makes excuses for.
And if you happen to have a moment where you're able to share that with your team, that should be discussed. This team was the greatest team, okay? Or that team, you can have those conversations. But like trying to
It's not what you said on The Shop.
nitpick an individual because he was not able to win a team game or a team match or whatever the case may be. I don't know where it started. It's just it's a long conversation, especially when it comes to me individually. It's just so weird. It's so weird.
And I notice a lot of times too when he's talking on here, when he's talking to anybody, he always says stuff is so weird. I think that's a phrase for him. Like when he knows he's full of it, and he's like, I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's so weird. No, it's not weird because they got you in the GOAT conversation. So when you don't attain the wins and everything, then you make excuses. On your show, on The Shop, you said that made you the greatest player of all time. You didn't say nothing about team. And that's what I'm saying. Guys like this with a losing mentality, besides all the flopping, the complaining the refs, the lack of defense, the team hopping, his whole mentality is this. He makes excuses. He never takes accountability. You getting Steve Nash on here to talk. And Nash ain't won nothing. You got Tracy McGrady and Gilbert Arenas on there talking about, and Jay Williams on there with Stephen A. Smith on First Take trying to talk about ring coaches. None of them have won a ring. So what are we talking about? This type of mentality right here is not cool. It seemed cool to these LeBron fans, these super diehard fans he has, but this is not cool. This is not the way to be. To the youngsters, this dude is not a role model on the court at all. When he wins, it's him. When he loses, his teams are bums. And the media pushes this. I hope Steve Nash come up from this. I hope he get another head coaching job. I hope he come up from this because he really does not check this dude right now. And it's really, to me, this is disgusting. It's a shame. But society hold this mug, have him in the GOAT debate. How you gonna have somebody in the GOAT debate that doesn't compete unless his deck is stacked?
For someone who's won a bunch of them. Like,
Yeah, it's just so weird. It's never enough.
I feel like it was in the '90s it started to shift. You know, when I got in the league. Now maybe I'm short-sighted. You know, our memories are fallible. I don't know, but I felt like it was starting to become that way. I don't know. I wonder if sometimes it's part of the way we cover sports nowadays. Like we don't necessarily. Like it's not 50-50 glorify and critique. It seems like it's more critical than it is glorified. I'm not asking for pro athletes to be glorified, but we are talking about the best in the world.
Yeah.
So,
now, when it's time to talk chips and championships, y'all don't want to be glorified, but then another time we want to be glorified. Nash should have checked him on this one. And yes, LeBron has 4 titles. 2 of those titles came in one was the bubble shortened season. The other one was a strike short season where it was 66 games. So if you want to put an asterisk by, because I hear people say the 99 Spurs should have an asterisk. He got 2 of them shortened season championships. And he's not a competitor. The ring culture started when you joined Miami. If ring didn't matter, why did you join Miami, sir?
I think it's really like we got to be careful sometimes how we can be so dismissive of a team, a player, an accomplishment, or a failure, because these are the best in the world, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you are.
And he's supposed to be the greatest of all, the best in the world. He's supposed to be the greatest of all time. Let y'all Bron fans tell it.
Automatically dismiss people in their careers when you just be like, oh, well, he didn't win a ring, or he doesn't have a ring. It's like, have you actually sat down and actually like really looked at this guy's career and what he was able to accomplish?
Everybody has looked at these guys that didn't.
I mean, Jerry West.
Guys didn't win. Everybody looks at their career and say, but they were a great player. They just didn't win. He's about to bring up Jerry West.
I think went to like 9 straight NBA finals.
Right.
And,
the logo.
And was only able to win 1. Right. And he's the logo of our league.
Yeah.
So you can't sit here and tell me that, okay, well, because he only won 1, the guy can't be in the same room with the guy who won 2 or 3 or 4. Like, why not? This guy, he's our logo.
Not good enough.
I mean, the Jerry West thing, he ran into Bill Russell. But just by him saying it, I'm not giving him, like people say, 10, LeBron has 10 appearances and went to 8 straight. I'm not going to give Jerry West credit for being 1-8 and going to 9 finals. But one of the finals that he lost, he was the MVP. Because back then, the players voted for awards, not the media and the players voted. So when Jerry West was going through those times, it was Bill Russell and the Celtics that always beat him. But they got beat by the Knicks as well, but it was mostly the Celtics, just the Celtics and the Knicks, and they just didn't have the depth that the Knicks and the Celtics had. They didn't have the same squad. So those Lakers were hard pressed to win with just Baylor and West. And when they got Wilt, they won, but that was the only one they were able to get. And Elgin retired before the season got really kicked off. He retired early in the season, so he never technically got a ring. But yeah, West is the logo, but West was a hell of a player. When West retired, he was top 5 all-time to play at the time. When he retired, even with just 1 ring and all the finals losses. So he's a logo for a reason. Now, there's levels to this. Jordan got 6, Jerry West got 1. Both of them are champions, but it's levels to it. All of them are great players. Nobody said none of these guys aren't great players. They always get their due. But the media nowadays doesn't give Jerry West no love because he didn't win more. Oscar Robertson only won 1 ring, but he won 1. But the ring culture, again, started with him going to Miami.
He's not good
New
enough.
logo.
Like, yeah, it's just it's and rest our late great Jerry West.
Late
So
great.
man,
The late
unbelievable
great.
person too. By the
Man,
way, I love that
yeah.
guy. Big
Yeah.
shout out Jerry West. But yeah, I don't know when it started, man. I just hope that we appreciate the guys who definitely don't matter, man. 'Cause
Right.
at the end of the day, when you're all done and you're done and the game has passed you by, I hope you just appreciate
Right.
what we were able to do. I don't.
What do they say? They say life's an illusion. This is just all noise, really.
That's it.
You got to run your own race.
That's it.
Enjoy it. Be in the
It's hard to tell if he's being genuine. That's it for that. But it's hard to tell if he's being genuine. I love that guy. I said, I doubt you even really talked to Jerry West, man, because Jerry West was a highly competitive person, and he hated to lose. He won't even before he passed. He wouldn't even go back to Boston at all. So LeBron, again, you just trying to make it weird, trying to downplay the fact that you don't have 6, and that you have a losing record in the finals, and that you started the ring culture when you joined Miami. And that's why all these guys now try to copy it. That's why Durant went to Golden State despite being down 3-1 up 3-1 on Golden State the year before he joined them after losing that 3-1 lead, which I thought was silly too. Which I thought was crazy. I was like, y'all boys don't want to compete. The guys back then competed and they didn't let the guys move around. The free agency wasn't the same back then. So a lot of guys you had to build through the draft and trades. So it's a lot different now, but these guys join up now because you, yourself, LeBron, wanted to run and join the Miami Heat. And then you went back to Cleveland, knowing they had Kyrie, and you saw Kyrie was coming up. Andrew Wiggins was the number 1 pick. He on the team. Next thing you know, he traded for Kevin Love, who was a first-team All-NBA, a superstar. Every time you join somebody, it was All-Star. How many All-Stars you got to play with, dog, before you compete? They done traded Luka. The Lakers done traded AD for Luka, and I'm like, how many all-time greats y'all gonna get this dude? How many star players y'all gonna give this guy? Luka. Now we got Luka. And Dallas, and see, they end up with the number 1 pick, so that's a little fishy. Y'all have traded Luka. Anthony Davis is injury prone, and he's older. He's got the mileage on a lot of playoff runs. So just got to take that into consideration, man, because LeBron he's not stopped anyone in his era from winning. Him and Steph had the same amount of titles, and Steph did his in 6 appearances. You see what I'm saying? Well, 5 appearances. Are they 4-1? Yeah, 5 appearances. Half the appearances, same amount of titles. No, they're 4-2 because they lost to Toronto in 19. So 4 fewer games, same amount of titles. Even when Steph them lost in 2019, you didn't hear him say, "Well, with them injuries, man." Everybody kind of felt that way, but you never know until you lace them up. But you never heard Steph complain about 2019 and the injuries. They just took it on the chin and came back 3 years later and won one. But yeah, this dude, man, that's it. Steph the won 4 in your era. Duncan the won 2 in your era, including beating you twice. Kobe got 2. Even Dirk got Dallas's only championship. And I'm not saying LeBron is, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he might not have had the teams early on in his career, but since you've had those squads, since you've teamed up and got all these guys, you're still not winning. So why have all these All-Stars? You can play with 20-something guys that made the All-Star team, 24 guys that made the All-Star team in your career. You've been through 6 and 7, getting head coaches fired, getting guys traded. Because Mario Chalmers and Dwight Howard say they called you the B word, not trying to insult you, but guys in the middle and heat of battle, stop acting like a B. You got them traded. The rings matter. And you know that. I said they give Barkley hell every night on inside the NBA. They give him hell because he didn't win. Hold on, because he didn't win a title. So they him and Kenny and Shaq picking him every time. Every time Shaq disagree with him, he say he won. So here's what I want to do. I'm gonna go to Draymond Green on the pivot, and we're gonna see what his take was on what LeBron said on the pivot. As we all know, Draymond Green has 4 titles with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson.
How do you see LeBron's comments, but also how do you feel about ring culture and the value that we put on that as it pertains to individual teams and players?
So I understood what Bron was trying to say. I do think, and I get the point. I don't think he did a good job of explaining it. And so when you are a champion, easy for you to say, yo, it don't matter because I'm a champion. But what Bron was trying to say, at least what I think he was trying to say, you got people that haven't done this, and they use that to dumb down the greatness of other guys that haven't necessarily done it. Chris Paul is a winner. I tell people all the time, Chris Paul ain't never won a championship. Chris Paul is a winner. Never fortunate enough to get quite get over the hump for whatever reason, whether that was his individual ability, but that don't mean he ain't great. And so I understand what Brian was saying, because it's like, well, if you didn't, in this media culture that we live in today, it's like, well, he ain't got a ring, so I could just blah, blah, blah. I could just crush this guy. And that's what Brian was getting at. It's like, don't take away these guys' greatness because they didn't get a ring, and then you just start speaking on the ring. But you've never, like, for a lot of people, they never even played at this level. And so, and they use that to tag these guys. But you don't know how hard it is to win a championship. And so you start talking about these guys that didn't win, but you don't know how hard it is to win a championship. So when they say ring culture and kind of use it as this from its negative connotation, what Bron is saying, I'm watching these people say, this guy ain't great, that guy ain't great, this guy ain't great, because they didn't win a ring. They still great. And so what it boils down to for me is, I get what he was saying, because those guys he named a few names. To me, they are still great.
How do you see?
And the thing is, Draymond is trying to clean it up for LeBron because, he still want to be on LeBron's good side. If Bron had 6 titles, he wouldn't have it. That conversation wouldn't come up, man. And nobody blasts. You can't tell me anybody that blasts the guys that didn't win. Now, they might not put them when it comes to all-time rankings. They might not be up there. But I don't think anybody that's won a title or that hasn't won a title is not considered top 10 at their position. I think Reggie's a top 10 at 2 guards. So is Iverson. Barkley's top 5 power forward for a lot of people, including myself. Other guys that haven't won. Patrick Ewing, top 10 center all time. But it's his legacy gets kind of, I won't say pushed aside, he just don't get talked about. I think they talk more about the championship players, but they don't belittle anybody that hasn't won one. Nah, they don't belittle them. Patrick Ewing made it to 2 finals, although he was hurt the second one. Reggie Miller made the finals. Allen Iverson made the finals. Barkley. John Stockton and Karl Malone, 2 finals. But when you look at when we talk the GOAT conversation, Jordan Stockton and Malone, Barkley, Reggie, Patrick Ewing, all his teams faced him. He eliminated all those guys. So when you talk about GOAT conversation, instead of just saying, look, the guy won this, Jordan was doing his thing in the 90s. Kept 5 major guys personally from winning championships. So what LeBron is trying to do is not trying to say that people are disrespecting the greats that haven't won. That's not what people have done. The only reason you're saying that is because you haven't won 6. And they Draymond credit, I get it, but a lot of these new guys now, it is hard. I'm sure it is hard to win a championship at the highest level. I'm sure it is. But I will also say that just because as a fan of the game or something, we might rank guys and talk, it's just all, sports fodder, man, to just talk about. But if we are just sitting around talking barbershop talking, yeah, you're going to rank guys and the championship's going to come up. But I'm sure it's not easy. But when you're supposedly in a GOAT conversation and you have stacked teams every year you play, you should be winning more. If you make players better for real, you should be winning more. And since you don't win more, now you want to make excuses and say, man, it's crazy. It's just weird. I said, when they say it's just weird, he's full of it. You have 4 championships. A lot of guys don't have any. A lot of guys only got 1 or 2, but I'm sure it's hard because in sports, like I said, everything has to go well. But we can't sit here, man. And I'm telling you, this dude is always good for content, man. That's why I had to do it. He's got Kevin Durant on the show a couple of days ago. I'll be doing a video on that one too. But when you load your team, LeBron, and you trade for the players you like and the players you want, and then you don't produce championships, yeah, you're going to get that criticism, man. But instead of you saying, I could have did this better, I could have got over the hump here, I could have did this, you constantly make excuses. And y'all calling this dude the greatest. If this dude is the greatest player of all time, who doesn't have a post game, because he's slew-footed, his footwork is terrible. He shoots 38% outside of 3 feet and 63% inside 3 feet. And you're saying he's efficient. This is for his career. If this guy's a pass-first guy, why is he the all-time lead scorer but not the all-time leader in assists? If he's a pass-first guy, because he's not. He's just balled. He just has the ball in his hands all the time. He's not a pass-first guy. He don't have a mid-range, even though he had flashes of it as it was first go around in Cleveland, and then once he got to Miami, all they did was run downhill, then he stopped. He had a post game for a hot second, and he stopped because now you don't have power forwards and centers in the paint, and since you're bigger than most of the bigs now, LeBron, you can just go to the basket anytime you feel like it. They're going to call fouls for you, even if you don't get fouled. But this is another example of how this guy, he's not in my top 10. I hear people say, are you a casual? You must not know ball. No, I know basketball. If you think this guy's top 2 or GOAT all time, you don't know basketball, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Because every time it doesn't go his way, he has an excuse. He said before, the bubble was the hardest championship because you just locked in one spot and you can't go nowhere. And I said, man, listen, y'all play basketball for a living. You can sit in that presidential suite a couple months and then go on back. But since y'all wanted to play it so bad for the revenue and the money, hey, you might well go win it, right? Then the first in-season tournament, guess who won that? Y'all got this guy here, man. From 2011 to 2018, his last 8 years in the East won 1 All-Star game. He comes up with this idea that whoever the top 2 vote getters, knowing he'd be one of them, the top 2 vote getters could pick their team out of the other guys, out of the other 22 guys to be on their team, which I thought was whack because when whoever gets picked toward the end or picked last, they're not gonna be, they're gonna be pissed. And now ever since then, the quality of the All-Star game. Once he was able to pick his own team himself out of that, then they won 3 out of 4. So this the guy y'all calling to go. Everything's an excuse. That's an excuse. Everything's an excuse. You got Luka Doncic now. Now they just got DeAndre Ayton. That's not necessarily an All-Star, but another number 1 pick he's played with. So when he doesn't get it done, his teammates are bums. When he wins, it's him. And then they'll sit on here and say, it's not important. It's just basketball. But if y'all do me a favor, man, like, share, and subscribe. This is RC Speaks, and we'll catch you next time.